You wake up already tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the kind that settles in your chest and follows you through the day. You move, you function, you smile when required, but inside, there is a quiet contradiction pulling you in two directions. Part of you feels small, replaceable, unsure. Another part of you senses that your life carries weight, meaning, and a responsibility you never asked for. You feel weak, yet summoned, uncertain yet called. This is the tension you live in, the paradox of being chosen while feeling worn down. You don't feel like a hero, you feel like someone barely holding it together. And yet, something keeps drawing you forward. You don't fully understand it. You just know you can't walk away. At work, you show up even when motivation is gone. You meet deadlines, take responsibility, clean up messes that weren't yours. You watch others cut corners and still get praised. While your integrity seems invisible, you begin to ask questions you never wanted to ask. If I'm doing the right thing, why does it feel so heavy financially? You try to plan wisely, but stability always feels just out of reach. One unexpected expense after another reminds you how fragile everything feels. In your family, you're often the emotional anchor. You listen, you absorb, you stay calm so others don't fall apart. But when you finally sit alone, no one is there to steady you. Here is the contradiction: people think you're strong, but you feel close to breaking. Heaven sees you as chosen, but you feel unqualified. And this gap between perception and reality is where doubt tries to grow. You may even wonder if your weakness disqualifies you, if maybe you misunderstood the calling altogether. But weakness is not the absence of calling. Weakness is often the environment where calling is clarified. You are not failing because you feel tired. You are being shaped because you stayed. There are seasons when God does not remove the pressure, He reveals what the pressure is meant to form. You are learning endurance that cannot be taught in comfort. You are learning discernment that only comes from disappointment. You are learning how to stand without applause, validation, or certainty. This kind of formation cannot happen in easy seasons. The ancient words recorded in the second letter to the Corinthians still echo today. Chapter 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. This is not a verse for people who feel powerful. This is a promise for those who feel depleted. Power does not replace your weakness, it moves through it. What you see as limitation is the very place grace becomes visible. Your fatigue has not disqualified you. It has positioned you to experience strength that does not originate from yourself. Picture a real, grounded hope, not a dramatic overnight transformation, but a quiet shift. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the weight hasn't disappeared, but it no longer controls you. You still work hard, but resentment has loosened its grip. You still face responsibilities, but fear no longer drives every decision. You begin to trust your inner compass again. Your finances stabilize slowly, not through luck, but through wisdom gained in hardship. Your relationships become clearer, less draining, more honest. You don't become invincible, you become grounded. Spiritually, something changes too. You stop demanding clarity before obedience. You stop waiting to feel strong before moving forward. You begin to recognize that God often speaks loudest when you stop pretending you have everything together. Your prayers become simpler, more honest, less performance, more surrender. Let me ask you something directly, and don't rush past it. What if the very weakness you're trying to escape is the doorway into the strength you've been praying for? This is not a message for people who feel confident. This is for those who keep going even when confidence is gone. For those who haven't quit, not because it's easy, but because something inside them refuses to let go. That quiet persistence is not accidental. It is evidence. If this spoke to where you are right now, take a moment to like and share this message, and subscribe so you stay connected as this journey unfolds. And as a simple act of alignment, not pressure, comment, "I am still here" below. Not because everything is resolved, but because you chose to stay present in the process. You are not weak beyond use. You are being met by grace exactly where you feel most human. The trials you faced were not ordinary, and that is why they left marks deeper than most people can see. While others were learning how to chase comfort, you were learning how to survive disappointment. While others were being supported, you were being tested. And somewhere along the way, you noticed something unsettling. Life seemed to demand more from you than from everyone around you. You didn't ask for that weight, it arrived anyway. From an early stage, pressure followed you. Not dramatic pressure that earns sympathy, but quiet, grinding pressure, the kind that forces maturity before its time. You learned restraint because reacting cost too much. You learned responsibility because no one else was coming to fix things. You learned to read rooms, moods, and silences because misunderstanding had consequences. These were not lessons chosen, they were imposed. Yet they shaped the backbone of who you are now. In everyday life, this shows up clearly. At work, when things go wrong, people instinctively look to you not because you asked for leadership, but because you're steady under strain. When a project collapses or deadlines tighten, you don't panic. You adjust. You absorb pressure. You find solutions. But that same reliability has a cost. You are rarely asked if you're okay. You're assumed to be okay. The strong one doesn't get checked on. Financially, you learned caution the hard way. Maybe you grew up watching money disappear as fast as it came in. Or maybe one mistake early on taught you how fragile security can be. Now you budget carefully, sometimes too carefully, always aware of worst-case scenarios. Others call you pessimistic. They don't know it's wisdom forged in loss. In your family, you may have been the emotional stabilizer, the one who kept peace, the one who stayed calm when tensions rose. You learned how to swallow your feelings to keep the household functioning. That skill helped everyone, but it taught you to carry emotions alone. Strength became your default, even when you needed rest. These trials were not random. They built something specific inside you: endurance without hardness, discernment without cynicism, and authority without arrogance. This is not common. Many people go through hardship and come out bitter. You came out aware, still tender, still human, but sharper in spirit. There were moments you almost didn't make it through, not because of external danger, but because of internal exhaustion. Times when quitting felt logical, times when continuing felt foolish. Yet somehow, you endured. Not loudly, not heroically, quietly, step by step, breath by breath. The ancient words recorded in the letter to the Romans, chapter 5, verse 3 and 4, speak directly into this process. Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character. Hope. Notice the order. Hope does not come first. It is built. And it is built through layers, through suffering that teaches you to endure. Endurance that shapes who you are when no one is watching. And character that eventually gives birth to hope that is grounded, not naive. The hope you carry now is not fragile optimism. It is earned. It has scars. That is why it lasts. There is a quiet confidence forming in you, even if you don't always feel it. You can sense when something is off. You can tell when words don't match intentions. You notice patterns others ignore. This discernment wasn't taught in comfort, it was sharpened in adversity. And while it sometimes isolates you, it also protects you. Hope begins to look practical here. Not a fantasy life, but a stable one. You begin to imagine a future where your strength is used wisely, not exploited, where your work is valued properly, where your finances are not driven by fear, but by clarity, where your family relationships are healthier because you no longer carry what was never yours to carry. This hope is realistic. It respects what you've been through. Let this land deeply. The trials that shaped your spine were not meant to crush you. They were meant to support what you're carrying next. A weak foundation cannot hold weight. Yours was reinforced under pressure. Here's the question you need to sit with, without rushing past it. What if the very hardships you resent most are the reason you can now stand where others would collapse? You are not behind. You are not damaged goods. You are trained in ways comfort could never teach. And the endurance you gained is not just for survival, it is for stewardship of what comes next. The weight you carried did not break you, it aligned you. There is a point where isolation stops feeling dramatic and starts feeling normal. Not because people vanished, but because understanding did. You still sit in meetings, still attend family gatherings, still answer messages, but something has shifted. You notice that even when you speak carefully, your meaning gets twisted. Even when you stay silent, motives are assigned to you. Over time, you realize this isn't a phase you can talk your way out of. It is a season you must learn how to walk through. This is where many people exhaust themselves. They try to correct every misunderstanding, explain every intention, defend every silence. You may have done that too, at first, but eventually, something in you grew tired, not bitter, just aware. Aware that being understood by everyone is not the assignment. Being faithful is. In daily life, this shows up in very ordinary ways. At work, someone may think you're distant because you no longer overshare. In reality, you're focused and intentional. You've learned that not every thought needs an audience. When feedback comes that feels unfair, you weigh it carefully instead of reacting emotionally. You fix what's true, release what's projection, and move on. That restraint didn't come naturally. It was learned through mistakes and quiet self-correction. In your family, this season can feel even heavier. People who knew an older version of you may say you've changed. And they're right, but not in the way they mean. You've stopped over-functioning. You've stopped carrying guilt that was never yours. You still show up, but you don't collapse yourself to keep others comfortable. Some will misunderstand that as distance. You are learning to let them. Here is one of the most important practical truths. For this season, people can misunderstand you without God misunderstanding you. Those two realities can exist at the same time. When you fully accept that, something loosens inside you. You stop chasing clarity from people who lack the capacity to hold it. This is where faithfulness in the hidden places becomes your anchor. Not public faithfulness, not visible sacrifice, but the quiet consistency of doing what is right when no one notices. You finish your work with integrity even when credit goes elsewhere. You speak honestly when exaggeration would benefit you. You choose restraint because you know who you answer to. In finances, this hidden faithfulness is very real. You don't cut corners that would solve short-term stress but create long-term damage. You resist comparison when others seem to advance faster. You manage what you have with care, not fear. No one applauds this discipline. That's the point. In relationships, hidden faithfulness looks like consistency. You don't withdraw love because you feel misunderstood. You don't manipulate to regain control of how you're perceived. You let time and truth do their work. You keep your word. You show up when you say you will. The wisdom recorded in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 23, speaks quietly but firmly into this way of living above all else. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart is not about shutting down. It is about choosing what has access to shape you. You don't allow every opinion to become a verdict. You don't let misunderstanding turn into self-doubt. You notice what drains you and step back without making a scene. This guarding is not defensive, it is wise. Hope in this season becomes grounded and specific. You begin to imagine a future where your character carries you further than your reputation ever could, where the doors that open are opened by God, not by persuasion, where the people who walk with you actually know how to value what you carry. Here is something simple to practice this week. When you feel misunderstood, pause before responding. Ask yourself whether clarification would bring peace or simply feed pride. If silence preserves integrity better than explanation. Choose silence, not avoidance, but trust. Another quiet practice is choosing one unseen act of faithfulness each day. It might be how you speak about someone who isn't present. It might be how you handle money when no one is tracking it. These choices shape you more than public affirmation ever could. Now, consider this carefully. If you stop trying to be understood by everyone, what kind of peace might finally have room to grow? At this point, I invite you to comment a short phrase. No more than 4 words, God understands me. This isn't for others. It's a reminder that clarity with God outweighs confusion with people. You are not unseen. You are not misjudged where it matters most. And the faithfulness you practice in silence is shaping a future noise could never sustain. Pressure has a way of revealing what comfort keeps hidden. You didn't discover your strength when life was gentle. You found it when everything felt like it was closing in at once, when expectations rose. Resources shrank, and time felt heavier than usual. This was not the kind of pressure people see and applaud. It was internal, quiet, relentless. There were moments when you felt compressed by responsibility. At work, demands increased without explanation. You were expected to perform at a higher level with fewer tools, less support, and tighter deadlines. Mistakes felt more costly. Rest felt undeserved. You learned how to function while carrying stress you never spoke about, not because you wanted to look strong, but because you didn't have the luxury of falling apart. At home, the pressure followed you. Family needs didn't pause just because you were tired. You were the one people called when something broke, when decisions had to be made, when emotions ran high. You learned how to compartmentalize handling everyone else's needs while postponing your own. Over time, you began to notice something unsettling. Pressure wasn't destroying you. It was activating something in you. This is where power begins to surface, not as dominance, but as depth. You became calmer under stress, more discerning, less reactive. While others panicked, you assessed. While others spoke impulsively, you listened. This wasn't personality, it was formation. Pressure was teaching you how to carry weight without letting it distort you. Financial pressure played its part too. You learned to make decisions carefully, to stretch resources, to delay gratification, to say no when yes would have felt easier. These weren't just money lessons. They were lessons in self-governance. You discovered that discipline creates freedom, and that peace often costs something up front. Spiritually, pressure stripped away illusions. You stopped relying on feelings to sustain faith. You learned how to show up even when prayer felt dry and answers felt delayed. This kind of faith is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply remains. You stayed when leaving would have been understandable. You trusted when clarity would have been more comfortable. The ancient words recorded in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. Speak directly into this experience. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Joy here is not excitement, it is perspective. It is the quiet understanding that something valuable is being formed beneath the strain. Perseverance is not passive endurance, it is active strength. It is the ability to keep choosing what is right while pressure tries to rush you into shortcuts. Hope in this season becomes tangible. You begin to picture a future where pressure no longer intimidates you, where responsibility fits your capacity, where your leadership, whether at work, in family, or in community, is rooted in steadiness, not anxiety. You don't imagine a life without weight. You imagine a life where weight no longer controls you. You start noticing how others respond to your presence. They trust you. They come to you when things are unstable, not because you have all the answers, but because you don't collapse under tension. This is influence formed quietly, without self-promotion. Authority that grows from consistency, not volume. Pause here and consider this honestly. What if the pressure you resented most was the very environment that trained you to lead without fear? As this realization settles, something gentle may surface inside you. Not urgency, not hype, just recognition. Like realizing you've been walking a difficult road for a long time and suddenly noticing there are markers along the way. If this message felt like pressure finally making sense, you don't have to announce it. Sometimes acknowledgement is quiet. You might press like the way someone nods in silence, no speech. Just recognition that says, yes, this reached me. You might share it the way you pass a cup of water to someone else still standing in the heat, not to explain anything, just to help them breathe. And you might choose to subscribe the way you choose a steady road over a dramatic shortcut, not excitement, but direction. None of this is an obligation. It's more like leaving a small stone on a path you walked today, a sign that says I was here. This mattered. You are not being crushed. You are being calibrated. Pressure has not reduced you, it has refined you. And what is being revealed now is a strength that comfort could never unlock. There was a man named Job, upright, faithful, careful in his ways. He did not live recklessly. He did not provoke disaster. By every visible measure, his life was aligned. And yet, loss came anyway, not gradually but violently, in waves, one message after another. Livestock gone, servants gone, children gone, health gone, stability erased. And as the dust settled, something even heavier followed: isolation. Job did not only lose things, he lost understanding. Friends came, but instead of comfort, they brought suspicion. They searched for hidden sin, secret failure, a reason that would make the suffering make sense. Job became alone in a crowd, surrounded yet unseen, faithful yet questioned. This is the part of the story many people skip, but you recognize it immediately because you have lived it. You didn't lose everything at once, but you lost enough to change you. A job you gave your best to ended without explanation. A relationship you were faithful in turned cold. A season where you did everything right still ended in confusion. And when you looked for understanding, people offered theories instead of empathy, advice instead of presence, judgment disguised as concern. In daily life, this isolation feels subtle but sharp. At work, you may be quietly excluded once you no longer fit the narrative of success. People stop asking questions when your story becomes uncomfortable. In finances, struggle makes others assume irresponsibility, even when they don't know the full picture. In family, pain can make you feel like a burden rather than a blessing. So you learn to carry it quietly, Like Job, you may have asked questions that never received immediate answers. Not dramatic questions, honest ones. Why obedience didn't protect you. Why integrity didn't shield you. Why silence from heaven feels louder than opposition. And the hardest part is this: you still choose not to curse what you don't understand. This is not weakness, this is rare faith. The ancient words recorded in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10, speak directly into this hidden endurance. But he knows the way that I take when he has tested me. I will come forth as gold. Job did not say he felt known. He said he was known. There is a difference. Feeling known depends on circumstances. Being known is a truth that stands even when everything else collapses. You may not feel seen right now, but you are known with precision. Your motives, your restraint, your tears you never explained. None of it is invisible. Hope here does not look like instant restoration. It looks like refinement. Gold does not form in comfort. It emerges through heat that removes what doesn't belong in your life. That heat may have stripped illusions about people, about security, about control. What remains is something quieter, but stronger. A faith that no longer needs applause. A character that does not depend on approval. Picture a practical hope, not a dramatic turnaround, but a steady one. A future where your work aligns with your values again, where finances stabilize not through luck, but through wisdom gained in loss, where relationships become fewer but truer, where peace returns, not because pain never happened, but because it no longer defines you. Like Job, there will be a moment when your story is understood differently, not by everyone, but by the right ones. And more importantly, by God, who never left the room when others misjudged you. Let this question sit with you, without rushing to answer it. If God still trusts you in the middle of unanswered pain, what does that say about what he sees forming in you? At this point, I invite you to comment a number not as a habit, but as a marker. Comment 58 below if you recognize yourself in this quiet endurance. Not because everything is resolved, but because, like Job, you are still standing without pretending it doesn't hurt. Your isolation is not rejection, it is refinement. And what comes out of this fire will not look like what went in. It will be stronger, clearer, and ready to be entrusted again. The number 58 is not about magic or superstition. It represents unfinished questions met with continued faith. 5 speaks of grace and weakness. 8 speaks of renewal after pressure. Together they reflect a soul that has not received answers yet but has refused to walk away. When you type 58, you are not declaring victory. You are acknowledging endurance. You are saying, I am still here, still trusting, still choosing integrity even without clarity. That number becomes a quiet witness not for others, but for your own spirit, marking this moment of faithful perseverance. There was a turning point in your life that few people fully understand. It didn't look dramatic from the outside. There were no fireworks, no clear announcement, no moment where everything suddenly made sense. But internally, it was decisive. Something shifted, and once it did, there was no going back. This turning point was not about what you gained, it was about what you refused to lose. You stood at a crossroads where obedience felt costly and compromise felt reasonable, where doing the right thing meant delay, misunderstanding, or loss, and doing the easy thing promised immediate relief. No one would have blamed you if you chose the shortcut. In fact, many expected you to. They assumed you would protect yourself first. That assumption alone reveals how rare your choice was. In everyday terms, this moment looked ordinary. Maybe it was a job offer that required you to bend values you worked hard to build. The pay was good, the timing was convenient, but something inside you wouldn't settle. Or maybe it was a relationship where staying meant losing yourself slowly, and leaving meant walking into uncertainty alone. Or a financial decision where cutting a corner would have solved everything short-term but fractured your integrity long-term. You didn't choose perfectly, you chose honestly. And that honesty cost you something. After that moment, life didn't immediately improve. In some ways, it got harder. You watched others advance while you stood still. You felt the sting of consequences that obedience didn't shield you from. This is where many people quietly regret doing the right thing. You may have wondered if discernment failed you, if restraint was wasted, if faith was misplaced. But something else happened too, something subtle yet profound. You kept your sight. Not physical sight, inner sight. The ability to perceive truth clearly. The capacity to feel conviction without resentment. The clarity to recognize danger early. This kind of sight is fragile. Once compromised, it's difficult to recover. Many lose it one decision at a time. You didn't. The ancient words recorded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 38. Speak directly into this narrow passage, my righteous one will live by faith. And I take no pleasure in the one who shrinks back. Shrinking back does not always look like rebellion. Sometimes it looks like self-preservation at the cost of obedience. Faith, in this sense, is not emotional confidence. It is forward movement without full visibility. You moved forward anyway. In your daily life now, the effects of that turning point are everywhere. You may not have more yet, but you have less confusion. Your decisions take longer, but they're cleaner. You are harder to manipulate because you know the sound of compromise when it whispers. You recognize patterns before they repeat. That discernment did not come from teaching alone. It came from surviving a choice that could have hollowed you out. There is a quiet steadiness in you now. You don't rush alignment. You don't envy speed without substance. You've seen how quickly things gained the wrong way fall apart. This steadiness shows up at work when you decline opportunities that don't match your values. It shows up in relationships when you walk away from dynamics that require self-betrayal. It shows up financially when you accept slower growth in exchange for peace. Hope in this season is mature. It doesn't demand timelines, it trusts trajectory. You don't need reassurance every step. You need direction, and you've learned how to listen for it. Not in noise, but in restraint. Not in pressure, but in peace that holds under scrutiny. There is also compassion growing in you, because you remember how close you came to losing yourself. You don't judge others harshly when they struggle. You understand how heavy choices can be. This compassion doesn't make you permissive. It makes you grounded. You know what it costs to stay aligned, to look carefully at where you are now. You are not untouched by loss, but you are intact. Your inner life still responds to truth. Your conscience still speaks clearly. Your spirit is not dulled. That is not accidental. That is preserved. Here is the question to sit with quietly. What did you keep by refusing to shrink back? Even when shrinking would have felt safer. You survived a turning point that many never recognize until it's gone. You didn't escape consequences, but you escaped blindness. And because of that, what lies ahead can be trusted to unfold without destroying who you are. You are not behind. You are aligned, and alignment is worth more than speed. There comes a moment when you realize something quietly astonishing. What tried to break you has begun to bow beneath you. Not loudly, not with spectacle, but unmistakably. The weight that once pressed on your chest now feels like solid ground under your feet. You are still thoughtful, still careful, still aware of how fragile things can be, but you are no longer folded inward. You are standing. You didn't arrive here by accident. Every loss carved space for wisdom. Every delay trained patience. Every season of isolation sharpened discernment. What once felt like damage has revealed itself as design. You are not hardened, but anchored. Not closed off, but clarified. The pain didn't erase you, it instructed you. In daily life, this crown does not look like applause. It looks like quiet authority. At work, you speak less but with more weight. You don't need to compete for attention, your steadiness does the work for you. When decisions are tense, people listen. Not because you dominate, but because you don't panic. You've learned how to hold complexity without collapsing into it. Financially, you move differently now. Money no longer defines your worth or dictates your peace. You remember how quickly things can vanish, and that memory has made you wise, not fearful. You plan without obsession. You give without showing off. You rest without guilt. Abundance no longer excites you the way alignment does. In relationships, the crown shows itself as boundaries that don't bruise and love that doesn't bleed you dry. You no longer chase validation. You recognize mutual effort. You allow people to meet you where they are, without dragging them or yourself into places that can't be sustained. Your circle may be smaller, but it is truer. And truth feels like rest. This is what it means to be crowned by what couldn't kill you. Not rewarded for suffering, but entrusted because of what suffering taught you. The world crowns through visibility. God crowns through formation. The ancient words recorded in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 11. Speak with a steady clarity meant for this stage of the journey. Hold on to what you have, so that no one will take your crown. This crown is not something you chase. It is something you protect. It is your clarity, your integrity, your hard-won peace. You don't guard it with fear, but with wisdom. You've seen how easily it can be traded for approval, speed, or comfort. You don't make that exchange anymore. Hope now looks forward without anxiety. You imagine a future where your story becomes shelter for others, not because you preach, but because you embody steadiness. Where your life quietly tells people, it's possible to go through fire and come out whole. This is influence born from authenticity, not performance. Pause here and reflect honestly. What part of your life now carries a quiet authority you never had before the pain? As this chapter settles, you may feel something gentle rather than dramatic. Recognition. Like noticing your own reflection after a long season of not wanting to look. You don't need to announce it. Growth like this doesn't ask for a stage. You might press like the way someone places a hand over their heart, no words. Just acknowledgement that says, "This met me where I am." You might share this message the way one traveler leaves a lantern burning at a crossroads, not to explain the road, but to make sure someone else isn't walking in the dark. And you might choose to subscribe the way you choose to stay near a steady fire on a cold night, not for excitement, but for warmth that lasts. If words help you ground what you've lived, you're welcome to leave a quiet reflection below, something honest, something simple about what this journey has changed in you. Not to perform healing, but to remember it. When experiences are named, they stop owning us. None of these gestures are obligations. They are choices. Like open doors you walk through only if they feel right. What matters most is this: you recognize yourself differently now. Not as broken, not as behind, but as formed. You are not defined by what wounded you. You are crowned by what couldn't finish you. And the road ahead is no longer something you fear, it is something you are finally ready to walk. You walk forward now without needing to prove your strength. The silence behind you is no longer empty. It is filled with lessons that finally know where they belong. What waits ahead will not rush you or erase you. It will meet you at your pace, honoring the work already done and trusting the one you have become. You don't have to decide anything right now. If this message felt useful, you're free to let it travel like a note folded quietly and passed to someone who might need it on a different day, in a different place. Not to convince, not to explain, just to let it arrive where it's meant to. And if it didn't feel useful in that way, that's okay too. You don't have to take the whole message with you. You're allowed to keep only what touched you, one sentence, one image, one moment where you felt seen, or steadied, or understood without being exposed. Sometimes that's how truth works. It doesn't demand agreement, only recognition. You might forget most of what was said. That's normal. But what matters has a way of staying. It settles quietly. It shows up later, when you're making a decision, or standing alone, or wondering if the road you're on still makes sense. That's enough. This ending is not meant to close anything. It's meant to leave space. Space for you to keep walking at your own pace. Space for reflection without pressure. Space for growth without performance. If something here helped you breathe a little easier, let that be the gift. If something challenged you, let it wait until you're ready. And if nothing resonated today, trust that it doesn't mean nothing will, only that timing matters. You are not required to respond. You are not measured by reaction. What counts is what stays with you when the noise fades. So take what's yours, leave what isn't, and continue forward, not rushed, not delayed, just honest.